Hi guys, welcome to another day of digital instruction with Mrs. Manley. The first thing we need to go over today is your agenda for the remainder of the week, as it has changed since I posted it on Sunday. Today, Wednesday, or Thursday, if this is my odd learners, you're going to watch this review video, and then you're going to take your EQ6 quiz in Socrative. On Friday, all students, regardless of whether you are an even student or an odd student, all students must take the Rutherford County Math Benchmark between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Okay, you must take this. This is not just a school benchmark. This is a county-wide benchmark. All ninth graders across Rutherford County must take it. It is for a grade. Your instructions will be posted Friday morning. You're going to take it in Mastery Connect. There's a video and everything that you will watch that will show you how to do it. And if you have any problems, you can email me. It will close automatically at 3:30. The county has set it up so that at 3:30 on the dot, whether you're in the test or not, it's going to close. So there are no excuses. You need to give yourself a minimum of 30 minutes to do this benchmark. I would give myself at least an hour. I would not sign on any later than 2 or 2:30 to do this. And again, this is for a grade. All right, so up next, we are going to go over the Desmos review that I gave you. So I've taken those slides and I've put them into PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time. I did leave my stylus at school. So for some of these, I'm going to have to either write on the screen with my finger, which is going to look awful, or I might just have to type on the screen. Okay. So question 1 said, Shania places N marbles into an empty bucket. Each marble has the same weight. The weight in ounces of the bucket and the marbles can be calculated using the expression shown, 16 plus 4N. So I'm going to pull up my highlighter. So I've got 16, and then I've also got 4N. All right, so let's first just talk about the breaking down of an equation. So when we write equations for linear functions, which is what we're focusing on, we always use the form y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope or rate of change. And notice it's always attached to a variable. Okay, that's how we show change, because it's m times x. Your b is always by itself. This is your initial value or your y-intercept. It's unchanging. Okay, it always stays the same, so it's not connected to anything. So when we look at this expression over here, the 4n matches up to mx. So that tells me that the 4 is my m, or my rate of change. And then the number by itself, the 16, is my b, my initial value, whatever I started with. So that tells me that the part that's changing is the 4 times n. So it tells me right here in my problem, n is the number of marbles. So 4 is their weight, because they all weigh the same amount. So 4 ounces times n, the number of marbles, plus whatever we started with before we started putting marbles in, would give us our answer. So if we're putting marbles into an empty bucket, before we start, when I'm at my initial point, before I start putting marbles in the bucket, the only thing I actually have is the bucket. Okay, so this B, the 16, that represents the weight of the empty bucket. The weight of the empty bucket before I put any marbles in. All right, next slide. Question 2. A shipping company charges a cost per pound plus a fixed fee to ship a package. The total cost, f of x in dollars, of shipping x pounds is modeled by the function shown. F of x equals 799x plus 499. So again, let's do some highlighting. So a shipping company charges a cost per pound, a cost per pound. So in order to have per something, you either need multiplication or you need division. Okay, normally in these equations, it's going to be multiplication. So the cost times the pounds. The only place that we have multiplication in these linear functions is with the slope. Okay, so this right here, 799 is my cost and x is my pound, cost per pound. That only leaves me the 499, which would need to be my fixed fee. Okay, fixed means one time, so I only pay it one time. So which part of the function represents the fixed fee? That would be the $4.99. Question 3. A surfboard rental company charges an hourly rate. Okay, so hourly rate meaning per hour, which would have to be this because it's with X. $9.99 times the hours plus a flat fee. I'm going to change colors here. So plus a flat fee, which would be the number by itself, so $35 to rent a surfboard. The total cost, f of x in dollars of renting a surfboard for x hours, is modeled by the function shown, f of x equals 35 plus 999x. So if the 999 in the function, so the 999, which is what's in yellow, my rate of change, is changed to $6.99, what does this mean? Okay, well again, the $9.99 is my hourly rate. So that means I've decreased my hourly rate from $9.99 to $6.99. So decreased the hourly rate. Okay, I haven't changed the fixed fee, just the hourly. All right, I skipped question 4 because we actually took that one off the quiz. So we removed that one, so we're not going to go over it today. All right, so up next, solve the following equation. All right, guys, so bear with me. Remember, I'm using my fingers, so it's going to get a little messy, but I'm going to do my best. So solve the following equation. So anytime you solve equations, I always used to teach my students when I taught 8th grade math at Laverne Middle that you do DCMS. So D stands for distribute, okay? So you always want to start with the distributive property. So when I look at my equation, I'm going to draw a line down the middle to keep my work organized. I'm going to say I don't have anything to distribute on the left side, so 6x plus 15 comes down, but I do need to distribute here. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and then I still have plus 9, okay? So that takes care of distribute. C stands for combine or combine like terms. To be like terms, you have to be on the same side of the equal sign. So on the left side, I have a 6x and a 15. Those are not alike. On the right side, I have a 3x, a negative 6, and a positive 9. Okay, negative 6 and positive 9 are like terms. They're just numbers by themselves without variables. So on the left side, I didn't have anything to combine, so it just comes down again. Nothing to do, so it comes down. Nothing to do with 3x, so it comes down. But I'm going to combine here. A negative 6 plus 9, you just read the sign with it. So different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3. I'm going to keep the sign a larger number, which is a positive, so I get plus 3. Next up is M for move the variable. You can move either variable. So I can move the 6x or I could move the 3x. But in this case, well, not in this case. The way that I prefer to do it is I always move the smaller number because then you almost always will stay positive unless it's just a problem with lots of negatives in it. So that means I'm going to move 3x because it's smaller. It's a positive 3x, so I have to do the opposite, which is negative 3x, which means minus 3x. Negative 3x and minus 3x are the same thing. Okay, so 3x and negative 3x make 0, so it's gone. And I still have a 3 over here that comes down, equals 6x minus 3x is 3x. 15 comes down and it's positive, so 3x plus 15. Now I can do S, solve. So to get x by itself, I need to move this 15. It's a positive 15, so plus 15, so I have to do minus 15. I do it on both sides. So I have 3x equals 3 minus 15. Again, the signs are different. Positive 3, negative 15, so I'm going to subtract. 15 minus 3 is 12. This time 15 is the larger number, so it's negative 12. Last step is divide by 3. I get x equals negative divided by positive is negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Not bad for using my finger. All right, question 6. What is the solution to the following equation? Show your work. Leave your answer as a fraction if it does not come out as a whole number. All right, so there's one extra step in this, and that has to do with a fraction. We're still going to start with D for distribute. Okay, so I don't have anything to distribute on this side, so I'm going to bring down 1/5 x plus 10. I'm going to run out of room on this one, so I'm going to have to, have two screens here. So I'm going to distribute here. 16 times x is 16x. 16 times -3 is -48. Okay. So from here, I usually am going to just see if I have any like terms to combine. I don't. I have an x and a 10, an x and a -48. So there's nothing to combine. So now I can worry about the fraction. So to get rid of a fraction, you multiply by its denominator. So the denominator is 5. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Okay, so I'm distributing again. Whenever you multiply a fraction by its denominator, all you have left is the numerator. So I'm going to have, and I'm going to rewrite it on this other side. Oops. Erase. Okay. So I'm going to have 1, and then my x is still there. And this 5 isn't gone. I still have to distribute times 10. So 1x plus 5 times 10 is 50 equals, then I have to distribute on this side. So what I do one side, I have to do the other. So 5 times 16. So 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 6 is 30. So that's 80x. And then 5 times -48 is going to be minus, and I'm going to have to erase this DCMS right here. All right, so 5 times 48. So 5 times 40 is 200. 5 times 8 is 40, so -240. All right, and now I'm just following my normal steps. So I'm going to move the variable. 1 is smaller, so minus 1x on both sides. So I still have 50 over here equals 80x minus 1x is 79x minus 240. Now I can solve. So I need to get the x by itself. Oops. So I'm going to add 240 on both sides. Sorry, running out of space. So 50 plus 240 is 290 equals 79x. And divide both sides by 79. And I'm going to leave it 290 over 79 because it will not divide out evenly. All right. Question 7. Convert the following explicit arithmetic equation to function form. So there's only 2 steps here. You're going to distribute because you have parentheses, and then you're going to combine. Notice nowhere does it say solve. It says convert, meaning move it around. Okay. All function form means is to put f of n instead of a of n. So I'm going to go ahead and just switch it to f of n for function form equals. So I don't have anything to do with my 5 yet. So now I'm going to distribute 6 times n is positive 6n. 5 times -1 is -5. I'm sorry. 6 times -1 is -6. 6n minus 6, yep. All right. Now my next step is to combine like terms. So I have a 5 and a minus 6. So that leaves me a 6n, which is going to come down. And then 5 minus 6 is -1. So my final answer is f of n equals 6n minus 1. Again, all you're doing is distributing and combining like terms. Okay, question 8. Convert to slope-intercept form. So again, notice it just says convert. It doesn't say solve. All we need to do is make it look like this. I need to get y by itself and my mx and b on the other side. Okay, so that means I'm not going to mess with the y. I need to move the x. It's a positive 5x, so I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. And that leaves me 2y equals, I bring down my slope first, which is with x, and then plus 18. And then, of course, I'm out of space. I'm going to rewrite up here, 2y equals -5x plus 18. Oh gosh. Let's try it again. I'm just going to stay where I was. Okay. Back to where we were. All right. So now I've got my mx plus b, but I have a 2y. So I got to get rid of that 2. So I have to divide by 2 all the way across. So that leaves me y equals, so negative 5 over 2 will not divide. So I just leave it negative 5 over 2x because that's my slope, rise over run. And then 18 divided by 2 is a positive 9. And I'm done. So just 2 steps. Move the x, divide by what's with y. All right, write the equation of the graph. Use the form y equals mx plus b. So we need 2 things. We need our slope, and we need our y-intercept. So y-intercept is usually the easiest to find. It's where we're touching the x-axis, which is right there. So that's at, what, negative 6. So my b is negative 6. And then to find slope, you need another good point. So that's a point right there. And then I'm going to highlight another point right here, right? And then we just need to count our rise over our run. So if I count, I'm at negative 6, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I count up 4. So my rise is 4. And then my run is 1, 2, 3. And notice I'm running to the left, and the left side of the number line is negative. So it's negative 4 over 3. And then I just pop it into an equation form. Y equals negative 4/3 x minus 6, because my y-intercept is negative. Question 10. From 2010 to 2020, the number of coffee shops in a county increased by 50 shops per year. In 2012, there are 1,350 coffee shops. Which equation gives the relation between the number of coffee shops C and the year T, where T equals 0, represents the year 2010? Okay, so if you look at your answer choices, all we're really doing is looking for the correct equation. Now, I will say this, there is a typo on all of these, and a student contacted me yesterday to let me know. So we're not even going to look at those answers, but we will talk about what the equation should have been. Okay, so most people would just jump in and say, oh, well, my y-intercept is 1,350. That's what I started with. But that's not what the problem tells me. The problem tells me that's how many I had in 2012. Okay, it tells me T equals 0. So 0 meaning my initial value, my starting year, should be 2010. So 2010, 2011, 2012. So in 2012, there were 1,350 shops. Okay, so I'm increasing by 50 every year. So to get to there, I went up 50 twice. So now to go back to 2010, I have to go back twice. So 1,350 minus 50 is 1,300. Minus 50 is 1,250. So my y-intercept is 1,250 because in 2010, that's how many shops I had. Okay, so my equation, part of it is going to be plus 1,250, and the beginning of it is C equals. So now I need my rate of change. How much is it changing per year? It's going up by 50, so 50 times the years. So I should have C equals 50t plus 1250. 50t plus 1250, which I think would have been this answer choice if it had not had a typo on it. All right, and question 11. Comparing two functions. Compare the graph f of x to the table g of x. Check all statements that are true. Right? So the y-intercept of f of x is greater than the y-intercept of g of x. Okay, so my y-intercept on f of x is right here at positive 2. And the y-intercept of g of x is wherever x equals 0. So I go right here and it's at negative 8. So then my statement said that the y-intercept of f of x, so 2, is greater than the y-intercept of g of x, negative 8. And that's true. The slope of f of x. So I've got a point there. And where's the other one? Right here. So if I count my rise, I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3. So my slope is 5 over 3 is less than the slope of g of x. So to find slope of a table, you find how it's changing. So I do my x's and my y's. So slope or rate of change is y over x. So I can see I went from -4 to -20, so I'm definitely going down. And then how much am I going down by each time? I'm going down by 4. On this side, I went from -5 to 15, so I'm going up, and I'm going up in increments of 5. So then my rate of change is -4 over 5. So is a positive less than a negative? No. F of 0 equals G of 0. So F of 0 means I'm going to go on the x-axis to 0. Okay, right here. And I'm going to look up until I see a point, which is 2. F of 0 is the same as the y-intercept. So 2 equals, if you look back to the first question, we already know that the y-intercept of g of x is -8. So we already know that one's not true. F of 5. So to find f of 5, I'm going to go to 5 on my x-axis. I'm going to look up, and I don't touch the line. I'm going to look down, and I'm touching the line right about there. So I need to figure out where that is. So that's at a little past -6. So we'll just call it -6 is less than. And then to find g of 5, all you do, g of a number, so when you have a number in parentheses, it means that's your x. So I'm going to go to my x's on the table to 5, and whatever number is with it, -12, is my g of 5. So this one says -6 is less than -12. Again, that's not true. -6 is greater, so only the first one works. And that's it for our review. So from here, go ahead and go to Socratic Student. Please make sure you are using the correct class code. Some of you, when you do your Microsoft form each week, mark if you are listening to your video, you have been putting in every week that you are in my 3rd period and you are not. So you need to check on that. So always make sure you're using the right code. Good luck. Have a great day. Don't forget to log in Friday early enough to take your county benchmark.